Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ. So we will continue our discussion on economy. We are in the module growth and development. So far we have completed some important concepts like HDI, IHDI and the other indices. Okay. So in this session, I'll be talking about determinants of economic development, and within that one topic which is coming is actually capital formation, and that is there in your syllabus. So I'll do that separately also. We'll take some time after discussing the determinants of economic development, like economic factors are there, non-economic factors are there. So we will see all those factors, that determinants of economic development, and then I'll take up a separate discussion for this particular topic which is there in your syllabus, that is capital formation, and we'll spend some time over there. And if you remember, in fact, in our planning chapter we have discussed already about this capital formation and certain concepts related to this I-core. If you remember the Harrod-Domer model, we have already discussed about it. Okay, so let's get into the discussion. Let's start the session on the determinants of economic development. Okay, so topic for today is determinants of economic development. Okay, so this is the same thing which you can use if you get a question on inclusive growth also. Almost all the same thing which is already discussed in inclusive growth is what I'm going to discuss it here also. So if you have missed out any of my previous video, you can get all these videos here. You can join the Telegram channel, or you can get in touch with me in this Instagram ID. Okay, so firstly I'll be categorizing this into two: economic factors and non-economic factors. Okay, so let's start with economic factors. Economic factors. Out of this, the first one will be capital formation. So the first one, capital formation. That means it's all about investment, and I have already told you that we will be taking up a separate discussion on capital formation. So let's not discuss too much about this. There's nothing but investment. There's nothing but the expenditure on the capital goods. So simply you understand this way. We will go for a separate discussion on this. Okay. Second one, economic system. That means the type of economic system, which type of system you're following, whether it is a socialist system or a capitalist system or a mixed model. Okay, all those things will come here. So economic system. Third one will be the type of economic policy. See, when I have discussed about system is slightly broader, and within system the policies will come. For example, if you take a capitalist system, the policies will be in accordance to that. Similarly, if you talk about a socialist society or the socialist country, the policies will be like that only. Most of the policies are related to welfare, okay, and well-being of the people it will be connected to. So you can see most policies are related to welfare of the people in socialist society. Rather, nowadays you can see most welfare policies will be in the capitalist society. Okay, so the third one, economic policy. So which one is broader? The economic system is broader because the policy is actually decided or designed by the system. Okay, then fourth one, structure of the economy. Okay, so structure of an economy. How can you see that it is based on the contribution of different sectors to the output or to the GDP? Okay, so let's try to understand three different sectors that we are taking as agriculture, industry and services. Let's see the contribution of these sectors to GDP, and we'll also see during 1950 time and current contribution also. Okay, so contribution in or contribution to GDP, 1950 we will see, and now also we will see. So first one will take agriculture. So 1950, during that time the contribution was around 60%. So 60%, and it has been reduced to 17, 16, etc. So 17%. Okay, and if you see industry, it was 18, and now it was increased to 32%, 32, 33, 34%. Third one, service. Okay, it was 22% and it is 51%, and it is actually increasing. Services is actually increasing, and agriculture is consistently decreasing. Without any doubt, you can tell that agriculture is consistently decreasing every year. Okay, and it has to happen. Actually, the reason is, if you see the developed countries, the agriculture sector contribution is actually reducing. That doesn't mean that the production with respect to agriculture is reducing. The contribution of agriculture compared to the other two, that is industry and services, is actually decreasing, which is actually a positive indicator, which you can see in all the developed countries. Now, if you see, you might have some doubt because here this is 17. You might have read before, if you're preparing for a long time, that in 2013-14 it was 14%, right? Agriculture contribution was 14%. Even now also, when people are talking about essay or any topic related to agriculture, they'll tell that 60% of the population is employed in agriculture, but hardly 13 to 14% is the contribution, and they're actually referring to that particular year when you got this 13-14% growth. Now I'm writing 17%. That doesn't mean that actually the contribution of agriculture increased. It is actually because of, there was a change in methodology in calculation. So it is actually based on a revised methodology. So this 14%, as per the revised methodology, it would be around 17.5, 17.18%. It will come like that. Okay. So this 17, which I am talking about now, that will be, if you go for the old method, it will be like 13% or 12% only. So at that time it was 14. So if you go with the same methodology to calculate, it would be 12, 13. That means the contribution is actually not increased, rather it is decreased. But why you are writing 17 and before it was 14? It is based on, this calculation is based on new methodology. So if you go for that 14%, which I have told you, as per the new methodology, that will be around 17.5, 18. Okay. So you don't want to have any confusion. If you get a question like this, if you get a statement like this, the contribution of agriculture is consistently decreasing, no doubt. Okay, every year, and it has to happen in a developed or developing country also, because that is a way towards development. It doesn't mean that the production is decreasing. Okay, if you see the production, let's say in last year, if you see, it's around 280 million tons. Okay, so 275, 280 million tons, and in 1950 it was 50 million ton. Okay, so you can see here the production is increased by more than 5 times, right? More than 5 times, but the contribution is decreasing. Why? Because the others are increasing more than 10 times, 15 times. Okay, the services or the production in services or industry is actually increasing more than 10 times or much more than that. So this is more than 5 times. Although this is more than 5 times, the others are increasing much more. So agriculture production is consistently increasing, production is increasing, but the contribution in terms of percentage is actually decreasing. So I hope you understood the agricultural production every year, and that is the reason why it has to happen. If you see, every year we target GDP at around 8%, something like that, but we only target 4% growth in agriculture. Why? There are a lot of reasons, because contribution to agriculture has to come down and others have to increase. That is actually a positive sign. And what are the reasons why agriculture sector is never increasing? There are certain reasons also. Basically land. Okay, so land is fixed, right? You can't increase land, and when you go for other activities, constructions, land is actually reducing. So there is actually a problem with land. Then natural factors, a lot of dependence on natural factors. So all these are, then productivity is a big challenge, right? Productivity is a big challenge. So all these are the reason why agricultural production in terms of contribution in the total percentage or percentage wise contribution is never increasing. Although the production is consistently increasing. Production is increasing every year. You will see this year record production was there, like that you will see, unless if there is some special cases of drought or low rainfall, or okay, if monsoon and everything is going good, you will see the record production. Okay, so I'm not talking about production. I've already clarified that production, you can see here, it was 50 million tons in 1950. Now it is 270, 280 and going to reach 300 million ton. So production is definitely increasing, but the contribution, I've made it clear that it was 60%, now it is 17. Now it's going to reduce 15, 14, like that it will be. Okay, it will definitely decrease, and it have to be like that. That is actually a positive sign. Okay, so take it in that way. Now let's see the contribution in employment also. So contribution in employment, just now we have seen contribution in GDP. 1950 you can take, and 2011 last unemployment employment survey, and that we have already discussed this in the chapter of unemployment. So 2011-12, that data is what I'm taking. So first one, agriculture sector, it was 75%, now 49%. Okay, second one, industry, 12% and 24%. It was 12, now it is 24. Third one, services, 13%, now it is 27%. You see here, this is very important here. You see here 27% are employed or accommodated in services, but you see here 51% is the production. Similarly, 17% is the output, but 49% is accommodated. So that is what this is a disguised unemployment. More people are employed. Okay, so for see, 49% employed means at least 49% production should be there. Similarly, you see here 27% employed means normally 27% production, but here it is 51% production. And this is actually the reason for jobless growth in India, because our GDP is mainly driven by the services. Okay, the output in services is actually the main driver of GDP. You can see here 51%, more than half is by services, but hardly 1/4 is the employment is provided by the service sector. So this is actually the reason for jobless growth in India. GDP is actually led by services sector, especially post-reform period. Okay, so this point has to be very clear, and this word has to be clear to all of you, that jobless growth, the reason is mainly the growth is actually driven by services, which is actually accommodating 1/4 of the population. Rather, the output is actually 1/2, or 50% output and 25% of contribution in employment. Okay, now let's look into the other factors. We are within economic factors itself. I'll quickly write down these factors. Level of specialization. Okay, then we have level of technology. Then we will see global factors. Obviously, global factors will affect globalization. Had tremendous impact, and we had already done a separate video in this. So all these things are factors. Then we can also write natural resources. See, when this is actually a debate, because some of the books you'll see under this particular reason or this determinant under non-economic factors. But anyway, I'm classifying here it under economic factors, etc. Okay, so these are the economic factors. So we have talked about capital formation. I'll do a separate video for this, very important topic. If not in this video, definitely in the next video I'll cover this particular topic, very important. I'll cover this very important concept of ICOR, incremental capital output ratio, which is actually used in the Harrod-Domer model. There we have already discussed that, but I didn't do that theoretical part. We will do that. Okay, and then economic system, economic policy, structure of an economy. I hope this is something which I want to explain more, because there is a possibility that you'll get question. So one thing that you need to understand is agriculture production is increasing, no doubt in that, but contribution of agriculture, the contribution of agriculture in terms of percentage is actually decreasing. It doesn't mean that production is decreasing. It means that whatever increases there in production, maybe 5 times or 6 times, but much more increase you can see in other sectors like in industry and the services. So contribution in terms of percentage will definitely come down, and no doubt you can take this as a perfect correct answer, that the contribution of agriculture is consistently decreasing every year. Apart from that, you can see the contribution in employment. This is actually the reason for jobless growth, because the growth is actually led by the services, especially post-reform time. And then we have another factors like level of specialization, level of technology. Okay, if it is good, it's fine. If it is not good, it's okay. Then global factors, natural resources. This can be non-economic factors in some books. Okay, now let's look into the non-economic factors. Non-economic factors. Okay, so firstly I'll be writing here socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors. Okay, so when we talk about socio-cultural factors in India, we have a lot of things to write. We are generally talking about determinants of economic development, but when we specifically talk about India, we have to talk about caste system. Okay, very important and very important determinants, especially socio-cultural determinant of economic development. Okay, so contribution of some sections or participation of some sections in the economic development is actually hindered because of caste system. Although after globalization all those things are done away or going away, but still that stigma is there, problems is there, still untouchability is there in some cases, and it is reported also. Okay, so caste system and again discrimination against women. So discrimination against women. So if you remember, especially in the previous discussion, we have done gender inequality index and gender related development index. So I hope you might have understood this particular topic over there in detail. We have seen the reasons and everything, and we have also seen the calculation, and we have seen the dimensions in which we can understand all those things. So all the dimensions we have covered with respect to discrimination against women. So there is no need to discuss this particular point here again, but it's again a factor. Okay, the opportunity which is given to female is very, very less. Although it is improved after globalization and after all this technology and all those things, the situations have improved, but still there are problems, still there are stigmas. Okay, so all those things are there. Next one, political factors. Political factors means, firstly, we need to talk about the political stability. If you have a stable government, the policies will be stable and there is a chance for better economic development. If you don't have a stable government, unstable government, then there will be problems. Okay, so political stability, that means policies will have a stability. Implementation wise, there will be a positive sign. There won't be policy paralysis. Okay, in fact this was a question in 2015 particular region, those big farmers and the small farmers, between them, green revolution, the concept and these HYV seeds and everything could be applied only in large scale. So big farmers only will get the benefit. So that led to income inequality within the same region. So all these were problems. Okay, so paralysis in implementation is one of the problem, and that can be solved if you have a stable government. Okay, so political stability, and then the type of government. I would like to say whether it is democracy or dictatorship. And there was a study conducted by Amartya Sen, and he concluded that, obviously the conclusion, that democracy is doing much better in terms of well-being of the people compared to the dictatorship setup. Okay, dictatorship regime. So democracy or dictatorship, or what type of government is there. Okay, and then obviously another factor, see, these points I am writing from the perspective of essay. You need to write all these points in essay. When you're going to write an essay, you should have the skeleton with you, right? Without having the skeleton with you, attempting an essay is almost like committing suicide. So these are the points which you cannot miss out. And non-economic factors, whatever is coming to your mind, you can actually write. Even you can write psychological factors like laziness also you can write. Okay, so let me write that also. Psychological factors. Okay, and then very important, one more reason, since we talked about caste, we also talk about religion. Religious factors is also very important. Religious factors. There is a one strong religious cult, fatalism, and they believe excessively in fate. Okay, and this concept, fatalism, you will be studying this in ethics. Once we complete this economy and history and post-independence, I'll be dealing with ethics also. I hope you know that I was topper in ethics that year, so we'll do this. Okay, so ethics will cover this. So it's all about bias against materialism. And if you talk about Islam, Islam says earning is good, but you have to donate everything, right, for Jannah. So you will go to heaven if you donate. Zakat, donation is what Islam is promoting. Similarly, if you go for Hinduism, the concept is moksha. So don't go behind Maya, right? Maya is Vibhat. So better you die fast and come back, then you'll get moksha. Okay, so religious factors is very important, and there were a lot of studies, especially since religion is coming as a topic in sociology. There was a lot of sociological studies which is actually highlighting the religious factors for the emergence of capitalism. And if any of the sociology students are watching this, you might be knowing that there is a very famous theory by Max Weber, that Protestant ethic and spirit of capitalism. And for others, I'll quickly tell this. The emergence of capitalism in medieval Europe is actually because of Protestant religion, or rather most of the Protestants were capitalist. The reason is some of the elements of that particular religion, Protestant religion, was actually the reason for emergence of capitalism. Rather, that particular religion have tendency to create capitalist, because their belief, their faith, and everything is in consonance with the capitalist setup. Okay, so religious factors is very important. And then one more factor which is very important, that is demographic factors. Okay, like the characteristics of population, okay, like the labor force, what type of age group, demographic dividend, all those things you have to write in your essay. Sex ratio is very important. Education, okay, demographic dividend, what type of population is working, okay, whether it is the young group population or old age population. The advantage that we have is the demographic dividend, but that may not be the case with Japan. Their population, the working population, is getting older, but we have a very, very big, huge amount of young population who's in the working age. Okay, the labor force participation rate, okay, the labor force is so good, the labor force is so high, we can effectively use that for the economic development. So one of the determinant of economic development, LFPR, labor force participation rate or labor force. Okay, labor force, sex ratio, female contribution is also important. Education, okay. So I hope this is clear for all of you. So these are the determinants of economic development. So if you have any doubt, you can get in touch with me here. There's my Instagram ID. Join the Telegram channel for all the videos that we have done. We have done on history. We have completed history and economy and also quantitative aptitude. And after this, we will do ethics also. Post-independence also will do. Okay, so see you guys.